Welcome to the 6th of July 2026. A very good morning to you. It's a bright morning. Freddie Ndimwili is back.
Oh yes.
Naona umenyoa hadi nywele.
Wacha tu nilienda nikapata a new kinyozi. Akaniambia atanisondeka.
Karibu sana. We've had a wonderful show. And we're glad that you're back.
Okay.
All right. Sasa, a lot is happening in this country, quite literally, and that is why we're here every morning, to bring you up to speed with everything. Freddie atatuambia kile ambacho, everything we need to know about the 6th of July, and of course the 5th of July, and of course the 4th of July, the weekend.
Yes.
Leading up to today, Monday. My name is Annie Odida. This is TV47 Breakfast. So good to have you on the show.
My name is Freddie Ndimwili. Kwanza kabisa, the World Cup, the big game continuing right now. Mexico behind England. This game is live, 90 minutes plus. It's almost ending. England is leading by 3-2, meaning that England could actually just proceed to the quarterfinals. Yes? Chunga sana.
That is round of 8?
Yeah, round of 16.
After round of 16, they're going to round of
quarterfinals.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Already France has qualified. France is my favorite team. I think they're still favorites to win the World Cup. They're already in the quarterfinals. England could be next. Brazil jana walichapwa na Norway. Yeah, this one many did not expect. It was that battle between Gabriel from Arsenal again and Erling Haaland. Haaland this time around came out on top. So Norway is actually in the quarterfinals. France washaenda quarterfinals. Morocco as well, the one team that's there from Africa. And we still await for other teams to win. Nani atafika wapi? Yes, but England currently leading Mexico 3-2. And that game is just about to end.
All right.
That's a big one. Of course, big discussions. It's only 10 days to the Kalou by-elections.
Yep. Which
will be held on July the 16th. Big discussions there. A lot of the politics about Goonism now is back.
Yes.
With that incident in Kisii at the weekend. And that's where most of the discussion will be around. Is this what we should expect as we get closer to the elections? Because now we're counting 1 year and a month to the next election.
Just 1 year and a month. Exactly?
Okay, 4 days thereabout, because today is 6th. The elections will be on the 10th of August.
Yeah.
So yeah, just 1 year, 1 month. Yeah, more or less.
All right. Yeah. Yops, nilikuwa nataka comment on whatever you mentioned about, Goonism. Tomorrow is also Sabasaba Day.
Oh, yes.
So there's likelihood of protests being there. Protests, or how do we call it? Because I know activists have also issued a protest notice. So is it a commemoration of Sabasaba Day, or is it protest?
Well, the Sabasaba date has actually been one big one, not necessarily actively commemorated every year, but it's an opportunity when guys have something to complain about, they use that date.
Yeah.
They've done so for the last 2 years. I don't know if they'll do so this year, especially after what happened on June 25th.
Yeah. That notice has already been given, so we'll be on the lookout for that tomorrow as well. And I know a lot of conversations will also be had today ahead of tomorrow as we anticipate Sabasaba Day. Now, globally, it's International Kissing Day. I've never heard of this day. I knew that was going to shock you.
You always shock me. Who came up with that? And what
now, I knew you were going to ask that. Who came up with that? So it says International Kissing Day was established in 2006, right? To focus on the kissing that takes place between lovers and to celebrate the place it holds in our society. So they say one of the most surprising things about this holiday is the research that revealed that 5% of people over the age of 45 are locking lips at least 31 times a week. Who wouldn't have thought that old fires burn so hot? It's International
45.
Kissing Day.
Are the older people as old as 45?
Yes, as old as 45 years and above.
Oh.
Unajua nimestress hiyo sababu your birthday was just the other day and you turned some age. It's also virtually Hug a Virtual Assistant Day. So I think today is just about spreading love.
Hug a virtual assistant?
Virtually Hug a Virtual Assistant Day. So virtually, I don't know, maybe we're sending hugs. You see the way sometimes you'll be reading comments and
you hug a virtual assistant?
Yeah.
Virtually?
Yeah. Mwambie tu
Don't you think we're overdoing it?
Well, the people who came up with these days, were they overdoing it? I don't know. So they say that, you want me to tell you the history of this day? Virtual Assistant Day celebrates virtual assistants' hard work and dedication. These individuals offer a wide range of services from administrative tasks to social media management. Now, why this day was established, I will find that out for you guys, and I'll let you know tomorrow why this day is important. Right, so these are the things happening globally, and of course back in the country as well. You know, yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, when that Somali referee came back to the country, and then, you know, he was received in Eastleigh, and then there's a lot of conversations going on around, you know, around that. Kenyans are not happy about that.
Why not?
Well, you know, I've been reading comments underneath those posts, and they're not quite, quite encouraging.
We've been criticizing South Africa for quite a long time. But don't you think even Kenyans, we have tendencies like those? Like, fine, we need to come to terms with the fact that any Somali in Kenya or in Somalia enjoys both citizenship. Same as Maasais across in Tanzania and those in Kenya. You can't really have a line cutting across. No, you look at Mudiawori's family. His brother ran for president in Uganda while he was vice president in Kenya. Why are we saying that some people are not Kenyan enough? I think at our Kenya pia tumeanza kukua na mambo kama ya wale huko my country, utapeleka hapi country hata ukipewa.
Actually, you know, that is where I was going to. That is where I was headed to. Because I was reading these comments and what Kwanambiwa, go back to your country. Go and build Somalia.
That's the exact same sentiments by that South African lady. To go back to your country and build your country. No, we're not going to do that. No.
Yeah, and you know, Pia Somalis in the comment sections were a bit too harsh. And I said, you know, Eastleigh is not Kenya. You know, we are here. We are bigger than you Kenyans.
They're just as wrong as we are wrong.
Yes.
And those people, all of you are just wrong. Hata ukipewa your border, even if you're given a section of this country, where will you take it? Why do you want to claim? Shida ni mingi. Can we focus?
Can we focus? Yeah, we should focus.
We should focus.
So I told myself I was going to retweet every tweet about Somalis in Kenya. And then we'll be talking about them this whole week and see what Kenyans are saying about what is happening in Eastleigh. Somalis
belong to Kenya, and they also belong to Somalia. Ethiopians belong to Kenya, they also belong to Ethiopia. Same way, Sudanese belong to Kenya, as South Sudanese, as they belong to whichever country.
Even Indians? Even Indians?
Even Indians who have been born here, they belong to Kenya. You become a Kenyan by naturalization, by birth, by citizenship. How do you decide you're more Kenyan than someone else?
South Africans.
And how different are you from those South Africans?
Wanadhani AI.
Yes. It's too late.
All right, let's take a look at the state of the weather at this point. All right, we start off in Mandera. It's a cloudy day today. Highs of 36 degrees. This morning is 26 degrees in Mandera. Nyandarua County, it's a mostly cloudy day. 8 degrees this morning. It's a very cold day in Nyandarua County. Highs of 28 degrees. Makueni, it's a partly sunny day today. 17 degrees this morning. Highs of 29 degrees. That's as far as Mandera, Nyandarua and Makueni counties are concerned. Lamu, there will be showers today. 25 degrees this morning, highs of 28 degrees. Tharaka Nithi, it's a mostly cloudy day, 17 degrees this morning, highs of 29 degrees. And finally, Nairobi, it's a cloudy day today, 14 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees expected in Nairobi County today. And that's the state of the weather. All right, let's come back and take a look at the quote of the day. Live intentionally. Craft a life that reflects your heart. When passion meets purpose, you'll love every moment you're truly present. All right, let's come back now and take a look at the local dailies this morning. We start off with the Daily Nation. Revealed private firm pocketing sharp billions. And lucrative questions have arisen over the role of a private company, Finsprint, in processing social health authority payments to hospitals, while a private consortium led by Safaricom in partnership with the Convergence Network Solutions and Apero Limited is publicly acknowledged as a driver of the 104 billion shillings digital system. It has in mind that Finsprint also plays a role, one for which the firm reportedly retains 2% of the value of claims. It is a fight back, they say. Shah says payments to contracted hospitals are made directly from the funds it manages. This story has been covered extensively on page 4. Once again, we see Apero and Convergence Network making it the headlines. Kotnadhani, that conversation had ended. Kenny, it looks like they're back. Let's see what the story is about. That audit exposes private firms' grip on 104 billion shillings Shah system. Hospitals directed to private companies after unexplained Shah payment delays and deductions. Somebody has been quoted here and she says, many hospitals have been complaining about not receiving their money. If no one follows up, then the money goes back into the system. This is Miss Janet Onyango, as has been quoted by the Daily Nation this morning. So what hospitals need to know about delayed Shah payments? Hospitals experiencing delayed Shah payments should document every claim, verify banking details, retain correspondence, request written explanations from Shah, and escalate and resolve payment disputes through official complaint channels promptly. Right, that is a controversy.
They retain 2% of every claim. Wow.
Full story on page 4. Police target MP over deadly Kisii goon violence. This is a story on page 5. Nyaribari Chache MP Zahid Janda has been summoned by police to record a statement following Friday's violence at Keumbu in Kisii, where goons attacked a convoy of Linda Mwananchi leaders, leaving one person dead. Police say at least 7 suspects have been arrested over the chaos, which sparked public outrage. Vincent Osiemo, alias Mapinduzi, is a member of the Linda Mwananchi media team who fell from a speeding vehicle at Keumbu when goons pelted the convoy with stones. He then succumbed to his injuries yesterday morning. Right. That is another very sad story on page 5. And if you could see those videos, very devastating and disturbing videos.
When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn?
Genesis of 3 billion shillings land deal haunting Matiang'i. This is a story in the top strip. It has been covered extensively in page 6. That a land subdivision plan drawn up in the early 1980s lay dormant for more than 3 decades before erupting into a scandal that continues to haunt Dr. Fred Matiang'i. All right, inside operation to rescue Kenyans from South Africa is another story on page 2 of the Daily Nation this morning. That some returnees were sent fare to enable them to reach the embassy in Pretoria. Kenyan High Commission is working in coordination with the association to assist those in need of evacuation. All right, on the back page, unbeaten Morocco keep hope alive with a quarter-final placing. The Atlas Lions, who are unbeaten in 34 matches now, play France tomorrow in the quarterfinals. Round of 16 fixtures playing today, Mexico versus England. The game currently ongoing.
Imeisha. England ni kama wamechukua, ni kama wanaenda quarterfinals. So at least you know France, 2 European teams already. No, 3. Hii kitu inaenda Europe ni kama. If you follow it properly, at least 3 European countries have are in the quarterfinals. If it continues like this, there's a very high chance that a European country will lift the World Cup.
Oh, wow. So Portugal and Spain will be playing at 10 p.m. Tomorrow, USA and Belgium, 3 a.m., Argentina and Egypt, 7 p.m., and Switzerland and Colombia, 11 p.m. tomorrow. And that's the Daily Nation. All
right. From that, let's take a look at the Standard. It has a very interesting story on the front page. You would think ile 30% watu waliambiwa ya Western itaendea watu wa Western, but very interesting that an obituary has cast fresh light on the remarkable reach of Speaker Moses Wetang'ula's political and family network across government. What began as a tribute to a respected Bungoma matriarch quickly ignited a national conversation after it revealed the sheer number of close and extended relatives occupying senior public offices. But what is so wrong with this? The disclosures have fueled fresh questions about political patronage, regional equity, and whether access to Kenya's most influential positions increasingly depends on family and political connections. So quite a number of these people are on the front page of this because it's under the headline broad-based family. So they now draw the connection from Speaker Moses Wetang'ula to some of these renowned politicians and government officers. Of course, the best known, or the one who's probably known to be a relative to the Speaker, is Tim Wanyonyi, the Westlands MP, who's his brother. I didn't know that former MP for Kiminini, Crescenta Somalwa, is a cousin to the Speaker. Well, Harriet Chigai, presidential advisor as well. Even former Deputy CJ, Dr. Nancy Baraza, is a cousin to the Speaker. Dr. Deborah Barasa, this is your friend, also a cousin to the Speaker. No, actually a niece to the Speaker.
Yes.
John Chikati MP Tongaren is a cousin to the Speaker. Dr. Juma Mkhwana, who's a PS industry, State Department, cousin. Beverly Opora, Principal Administrative Secretary, is a cousin as well. So, nani alikuwa anaongea kuhusu cousins?
Hawa ndio real cousins.
Hawa ndio real cousins. Na wote wanaoccupy some very influential positions in government. But some of them are elected, so you really can't say they're there courtesy of being a cousin to this guy. And some of them you would not even have imagined the connection. Some of them have openly opposed this Speaker previously, but then again, it's a very interesting story. I don't know why the Standard picked on this story to be on the front page.
Kufinya. Did you just ask what's wrong with that?
No, I'm wondering what is so wrong.
Kwani tuko Uganda?
Really?
You know, it's Uganda. You'd expect the chief of staff, Museveni's son. I don't know. The wife is the CS education.
You see now that's a presidential appointment. He appointed his son, head of military, appointed his wife, a minister in cabinet. But this one, none of these people is at the National Assembly under the Speaker's appointment. Some of them are elected members out of their own merit. Some of them have been appointed by the President. Okay, there could be a connection. I do not know. But you can't really blame the Speaker. Then again.
Hapo sasa tutakubaliana because most of them are elected.
Yes. Langu jicho tu. Inside pages of this Standard. Police in pursuit of key suspect in murder of mother and two daughters, as a story on page 2. But Muturi endorses Kalonzo for opposition flag bearer. This is a simmering debate, especially within the United Alternative Government, where picking a flag bearer is a problem. So JB Muturi, the leader of DP, has come out and said if at all is given, he's the first one to actually declare that if at all he is to choose, he'll choose Kalonzo. Last week, another paper had said that Rigathi Gachagua had chosen Kalonzo, but Rigathi denied that. Martha Karua says no.
It was a Star.
It was a Star newspaper. Martha Karua says no, we are yet to make that decision. So a lot of controversy around that. Will they survive it? I'd seen another story now, yes, and this is the biggest discussion about Goonism. So pages 6 and 7 of this paper. Rule of Goons, is Kenya going the Haiti way? Nakumbuka ile jamaa alikuwa anaitwa Barbecue.
Yes.
He's a gang leader. And they still don't have a proper government because gangs run the city. But are we going that direction? Many people are asking, okay, fine, we sent police to Haiti to handle the gangs. How come these police are not able to handle the gangs here? So feed goon monster at your own peril, leaders warned. That's another story on the Standard. It will make a big discussion today. Another very interesting family stories on page 8. Man who claims to be Saitoti's secret son demands share of estate. Pesa iko mingi pale na wamesema ai, kwa nini tusipate hiyo pesa? There's also a story on Sabasaba Day, and that those are the main stories on the Standard. Back page of the Standard matters FIFA World Cup. Behold, this is where it all began. That game between Spain and Portugal. Hey. Ilisha hiyo ni Euro, but wanasema Ronaldo comes face to face with young talented Yamal. It's a big one, Portugal versus Spain. Remember, both are European teams. So either way, another European team will be in the finals, in the probably in the semi-finals. This one is actually going to Europe, if you ask me. France, England, either Portugal or Spain. Norway is already in the quarterfinals. Kama imeenda. That's the standard today.
All right. Taifa Leo, kero ya uhuni Kisii. Talking about Goonism, uhayawani, viongozi wawili wa kisiasa wadaiwa kufadhili wahuni hao kwa kuwanunulia vijana mipini, mapanga na silaha nyingine ili kuvamia mikutano ya Linda Mwananchi. Mbunge wa Nyaribari Chache Zahiri Janda aitwa kuhojiwa na polisi. Mtu mmoja aga dunia huku polisi wakimhoji mbunge kuhusiana na mashambulizi ya wahuni eneo la Kiumbu. Vidokezo zaidi, Musalia kimya, naibu rais ukijadiliwa, mjadala wa waniaji wenza katika uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka ujao umeshika kasi nchini. Wakenya wasimulia masaibu Afrika Kusini, robo finali kali kati ya Morocco na Ufaransa. Right, habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 20, masuala ya World Cup pale. Kule juu zaidi, kampuni ya kibinafsi inavyofaidi donge la SHA, that's the main story in the front page of the Daily Nation as well. Kesi ya ardhi ya Ruaraka yahitimishwa. Wizara ya Elimu chini ya Matiang'i ililipa shilingi bilioni 1.5 ili kutoa ardhi hiyo ya umma. Taifa Leo.
Tukiangazia gazeti la The Star. Employers feel pinch as 12% pay increase order takes effect. Workers to get pay arrears for last 2 months. We, hapo ni kama kuna kapesa mahali, wacha tuangalie. Ukipata arrears ya 2 months. So this story is actually the main story on page 4 and 5. It's about NSSF. Ama ni gani hii? Wanasema balancing act effecting of Labor Day directives has led to mixed reactions. So wages were in order by numbers, increasing general minimum wage 12%. Yes, kama hauko umelipwa ile, hauko umeongezewa ile minimum wage. Sasa hiyo arrears itakuja.
Inatuhusu pia.
Inakuhusu. Maybe you are even an employer yourself. Kama ulikuwa employer na uko ume-effect 12%, kuna arrears ya miezi 2 since Labor Day.
Sisi ya 12% pia inatuhusu, tutapata kama employees.
It became effective on date 26th of June when it was gazetted. Yeah. So nearly 2 months of salary arrears to be calculated. Ile minimum wage. Hata yule mjakazi wako nyumbani, if at all you've not effected that minimum wage, she can actually, or he can actually decide to challenge.
That was 11,000 Kenyan shillings.
No,
for households? Oh, it was 18,000.
That's a minimum wage now. 18,000. You better recognize and understand. So that's the main story on the front page of the Star. Ruto dismisses Gachagua role in 2022 polls victory. President William Ruto yesterday was in Embu and he said, mimi sikusaidiwa kukuja huku. Huyo mtu mwenye ni one term MP anaweza saidia mtu kama mimi nimeishi parliament hiyo miaka yote. Acha hiyo mchezo. And quote awards a student 8 million shillings for brutality. A university student who was beaten and detained by police during the 2019 protest has been awarded 8 million shillings in damages. He's called Alan Omondi from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Alishikwa na askari akatandikwa. Sasa amesema milioni 8 tu.
Wow.
They have a very interesting picture there of a worker at a construction site. Long awaited certainty. I think this is connected to the minimum wage. Even those working in construction, wanasema kuna pesa watu wanafaa kupata. Yes. Those are the main stories there. Another story huku ndani. I'm looking at something that would be of interest. Oburu says ODM will finalize deal with UDA before end of 2026. Are they still talking about coalition talks? A story is on page 8 of this paper. This is the first time I've heard about the talks in a very long time. I don't know, maybe when I was on leave, maybe they talked about it.
Nothing.
That's interesting. On the back page, some absolute disgrace. How France survived Paraguay's disgraceful and embarrassing dark arts. That's a match between France and Paraguay. France, of course, emerged victorious, and they are in the quarterfinals. There's a player from Morocco, Ayoub Bouadi. Is at the World Cup, and people are really eyeing, other European teams are eyeing his services. That's a Star, fresh, independent, different. You can grab yourself a copy of this paper for only 60 shillings.
All right. People Daily, Kenya's 2027 vote, when clout beats policy, they call it winning attention, losing substance. There's 2027 polls, while citizens are crying for development. That politicians are, campaigning for 2027. But developments, Wakenya bado wanaumia.
It's just cloud chasing.
Cloud chasing, right. That story is on page 8. Cracks widen in Ruto camp as Rift Valley succession race intensifies. Right, there are notable faces here. Kipchumba Murkomen, Aaron Cheruiyot, Gladys Boss, and Oscar Sudi. Oh, wow. That is Rift Valley succession race.
Hawaelewani hawa.
Very interesting scenes. That is the People Daily. Tuangalie Business Daily haraka haraka. Kenya saves 22 billion shillings after China SGR loan deal. Debt service bill drops to 107.7 billion shillings in year to June, and $3 loans converted into renminbi in restructuring. 15 state firm CEO jobs at risk as shutdowns and mergers loom. That's another story on page 2, and I can see the National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah is at the center of this. That new bill tabled in Parliament by Kimani Ichung'wah seek to dissolve 6 regional development authorities, triggering the redeployment of their chief executives to other government roles. The agencies targeted for dissolution include the Kerio Valley Development Authority, Lake Basin Development Authority, Tana and Athi River Development Authority, and the Iwaso Nyiro South River Basin Development Authority, among others. On the ticker, oil marketers face sanctions on South Sudan fuel deal breaches. Guaranteed buyout for ABSA owners capped at 10,000 shares, and Center Mivida plan asset-backed securities. That's the Business Daily.
Okay, right. So after the local dailies, let's look at the regional outlook. That's East Africa, and we start off with the East African, the regional paper, the regional weekly paper. So they talk about Africa's air hubs race, especially in East Africa. So they say states are busy developing new airports, like Kenya is hoping to do, and expanding old ones, even as local airlines struggle to stay airborne, like the Pride of Africa. Due to lack of funding, poor governance, and Continental Open Skies plan remains up in the air. That story on page 4 and 5, they have pictures there of some of the artistic descriptions of what should be of the Ethiopia's Bishoftu International Airport. Yes, quite one of the busiest airports in Africa. Another interesting story, this is, in as far as sports is concerned, Museveni, the Ugandan president, has backed plan to issue single visa to AFCON fans. Remember, we are hosting AFCON next year, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Now, Yoweri Museveni says, everyone coming for AFCON should just have one visa. Sio lazima ukitoka wapi unaenda visa, utaka kwenda coach quarter finals Tanzania una visa ingine. Just one. Ukishaingia East Africa, mamaliza your story. That's the East African. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. To make it easier. All right, we cross over to Uganda, and since Daily Monitor is still inactive after walifungwa, we only have the New Vision. Tough rules for LC1 polls. These are local council 1 polls. Public dancing and singing is banned. Yeah, during elections. Hakuna kuimba na kudance. But why should you, would you really expect in Kenya, you tell people, that public singing and dancing has been banned during campaigns? How else do we campaign?
Yeah.
That's the main story on the front page of the New Vision. We cross over to Tanzania, na kama ingekuwa wale wenzetu wa kule Radio 47, wale Billy Mia na Mbaruk Mwalimu wasema pale Tanzania kuna utata ambao umegubika zuio la mikutano. Gazeti la Mwananchi. Wachambuzi wahoji katazo kugusa vyama pekee. Because this directive is intended for political parties. Hakuna mikutano. Lakini mikusanyiko mingine ikiendelea ikiwemo ya Simba na Yanga. So football matches are still going on. Si hata hizo ni mikutano. Kama mumeban mikutano, si muban mikutano yote. Kwa nini tu ya kisiasa? Serikali yasema chanzo ni matishio ya kiusalama yanayotolewa kupitia majukwaa ya kisiasa. Habari kuu pale. So zuio la mikutano. The other paper in Tanzania, The Citizen, who's fooling whom in fuel import debate? That's a question they're asking. So apparently there's controversy surrounding the importation of petroleum products after the Middle East conflict broke out and has taken a new twist, with the government coming out to defend itself in the matter. This is just a replica of what happened in Kenya.
Yes.
Tunasema shida ni Strait of Hormuz. Na hapo ndio tunachia. So who's fooling who? Jibu mko na Strait of Hormuz. Let's move on. That's a paper in Tanzania. Let's come back home and take a look at the cartoons in our dailies. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start off with the one on the Daily Nation. There's a van here carrying fake ARVs, yeah? And there's pale wametoka kwa supply chains wanaacha hapo. Last week, government cracked down on, the online sale and delivery of antibiotics. And some of the things that they said in that meeting was that counterfeit HIV medicine, fake HIV kits rather, and erectile dysfunction drugs are among falsified medications that are circulating in the Kenyan market.
I think sometimes as Kenyans we joke a lot. Fake ARVs?
Yes. Yeah.
Hata ingine hata ile ya kusaidia kazi zingine bado ni fake.
Bado ni fake. Yeah, so
no wonder probably you've been trying and failing.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ministry of Health ilisema last week. So that is what the Daily Nation has captured this morning, that the supply chains iko na fake ARVs in the Kenyan market.
Kuna watu are just using the fake ARVs.
Alafu unaona venye hiyo that thing, what is that thing called? Hiyo kitu inafunguka and then gari inapita. That barrier. Yes, that barrier. Unaona imefungulia fake ARVs ingie Kenyan market.
Kama tunafungua tu borders kila bali. That's a cartoon on the Daily Nation. The one on the Standard steers clear of politics or anything, but talks about the generational gap. In reference to the music festival. Remember, this is the second term of the academic calendar, so hii ni music festival, sio drama. So on one hand, kuna yule kijana mdogo pale anasema sisi ndio future as they express themselves, lakini kuna wazee wanasema the future is in our hands. Yeah. So wewe kama ndio future and you're in the hands of the older generation. All right, that's the Standard.
All right, the Star, elusive Luya unity. Kuna Didmas Barasa hapa. Kuna ambaye ako peke yake apparently according to this newspaper. But then there are leaders here in the Luya community who are fronting Sifuna.
So there's a supremacy battle there.
Yeah.
Sasa siku hizi imekuwa reduced to matanga. So whenever they're in a matanga, it is Didmas Barasa to go away with the crowd.
Yeah.
So Sifuna told him at the latest matanga this past weekend, now you will be the last one to speak.
Wow.
Because in the previous matanga he did that. He spoke before the rest of the leaders and left with the entire crowd.
Wow.
So akaambiwa tunakujua, now you'll be the last one to speak. And true to it, after he spoke, there was only one politician to speak after that. He left with the entire crowd.
Didmas?
Yes. He keeps doing that.
Intentionally.
Supremacy battles.
Wow.
Remember him is running for governor of Bungoma. Sifuna, we don't know what he's running for.
Yes. Nani alishasema, huyu wa Trans Nzoia alishasema Sifuna pia ametosha kusimama kama rais.
Same thing, Sifuna again on the cartoon on the People Daily. But this time akona CJ Maraga, ex-CJ. 2027 deal. Both appear to be saying as long as I am the big boss. Why are these people suggesting that Sifuna is now like the main guy?
Sifuna came up with the Linda Mwananchi movement, right? We'll give that to him. And then Maraga just recently is getting allied to that camp. So maybe.
Two cartoons focusing on Sifuna.
Yeah.
We'll give it to him. He's the main guy as far as the cartoons are concerned today. All right, so yes, we'll be discussing some of these talking points with my panelists today. After the break, Professor Fred Ogola, governance and economics expert. We'll also be having Advice Mundalo, a leadership and communications expert, as well as Kevin Osido, governance specialist and the executive director of County Governance Watch. Do stand by for that. Our main discussion will focus around the Goonism and lack of security generally. 1 year and 1 month to the next general election, 10 days to the much anticipated Kalou by-elections. So, interrupt. Yes.
Wait a minute. Speaking of Goonism, you saw that clip from Westlands when Goons attacked.
Yes.
That was it eating joint or what was
an
it?
Eatery, yes, something like that. And they just walked from the road into the restaurant, stole a few phones and just made away.
Westlands, or was it in Kigiri? Of all places.
Yes. Unajua inafikia wale wakubwa, walioidhani itakuwa kule chini mashinani, inawafikia. The more you continue ignoring Goonism and acts of insecurity, they'll get to you.
Yes.
Yes. All right, just before we take a break, let's take a look at the traffic situation in the city this Monday morning. All right, major highways in the city look like this morning. There's a long stretch of red all the way from KU hadi Kasarani, heading towards town. Thika Road, that is. So that's a big problem. All the way from Quickmart, Kahawa Sukari, inaenda mpaka Kasarani. Hapo kuna shida. So if you can avoid that, maybe by using the eastern bypass or the northern bypass, the better for you. The next place you will encounter traffic on Thika Road heading towards town is just before you get to Mountain Mall, Pale Garden City Mall. A bit of traffic after that, but it eases off, building up again at KCA University and kama kawaida pale Utalii Drift as you get towards the Pangani interchange. The other major problem inakuanga kule kwa kina Moms, Eastern Bypass, Utawala all the way to that KQ roundabout. Pale kwa Jeshi, a long stretch of red. If you're probably heading towards JKIA, that's the only reason you should be using this road. Otherwise, it's nasty this morning. Outer Ring Road building up kama kawaida because of matatus pale Feather and Tasia, but other than that, Outer Ring Road is smooth on both sides of the road. Jogoo Road pale kawaida, Makadara heading towards Mbotela, and after that, just a bit of traffic as you get to City Stadium roundabout. Traffic getting closer to town is building up nicely on Pale Mudhurwa, opposite Machakos bus station as you get towards town, and on both sides of Haile Selassie Avenue between the railways roundabout and Landis Road roundabout. Stretches of red, dark deep maroon. Yeah. Other major highways into the city, the expressway Mombasa Road all the way from the airport to the city center is looking green. There's a stretch from All Saints Cathedral all the way to that inaitwaje ile Nyayo House roundabout. Ni kama imefungwa. Sections of that road have been closed. So if you can avoid that area, All Saints Cathedral towards town, there's a problem there. I cannot see. I'm just looking at the Google maps, but you can see it's like there's no access on either side of that road. I know there's some construction going on there with an overpass. Probably that could be the situation. If we establish it different, we'll let you know. The other side of town, all the way Wayaki way from ABC place to town is looking good. Other roads, najua sasa ile shida ilikuanga pale Junction Mall imeisha because of the overpass ilifunguliwa. So there's no traffic on Junction Mall.
Wow.
There's no traffic at all. Prestige Plaza, a bit of traffic, and the City Mortuary roundabout. That's the traffic situation. Typical Monday morning traffic, most of it concentrated on Thika Road and the Eastern Bypass. So interact with us throughout the show. Remember Monday Blitz coming up later on. A lot of talk around the World Cup. How many teams? Actually, we've been counting quite a number of European teams. Out of the 8 that will be in the quarterfinals, I think Europe will have like 5 or 6, meaning the chances are very high. The World Cup will be going to Europe. France, England, Portugal or Spain, because they're here to play their game. Who do you fancy? I've declared France is my team, despite the fact that there's some African teams there. But Monday Blitz will be telling you all that and more. But interact with us through our social media pages on X at TV47 Digital, on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. It is TV47 Kenya. The hashtag to use is TV47 Breakfast, hashtag Story Yetu. You can tag us as well at Freddy Ndimuli on X.
My handle is Annie_Dida. See you after the break.
All right.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni live.
Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? High five?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tangu lini kero umeka kwa beauty product?
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
We won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You know here?
Yes.
You learn the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
Then you move it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
Nairobi, where the hustle never sleeps and neither do the scammers.
Link Up, we are talking about something that's affecting all of us. We are talking trust.
We're diving into the campus life.
Stay fresh, stay safe.
Stay linked up.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You know here?
Yes.
You learn the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
Then you move it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mko rada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo ni tonga commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Nipatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho as in kesho ya tomorrow.
Hiyo tena. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka. Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
The probe into Friday's violence in Keumbu has entered a new phase after detectives arrested 4 more suspects, bringing the total number in custody to 7. The latest arrests follow an intelligence-led operation by detectives from DCI in Kisii Central and Keumbu Police Station, with the suspects now awaiting arraignment as investigations continue. Police have also summoned Nyaribari Church MP Zaheri Janda to record a statement as part of the ongoing investigations into the attack that left several people injured and vehicle damaged during a Linda Mwananchi rally. As the investigations unfold, leaders across the political divide have condemned the attack, calling for political tolerance and warning that violence threatens democratic freedoms as the country ages closer to 2027 elections.
These are people that are in all these videos. There is a lady wearing a red t-shirt. You can't miss her. She was next to a policeman, throwing stones and asking for more, saying, "Ua, ua." Has she been arrested? Or we are still doing forensic?
Kama serikali yetu ambaye tuna isustain kupitia kwa kodi imerudi sasa inataka kutuumiza. Nani atakaye tulinda? Nani atakaye tulinda?
Meanwhile, clergy from the Western region have condemned the violence, urging political leaders to uphold integrity and tolerance as the country heads towards the 2027 general election.
Vijana wetu watoke upande ule wa kutumika kama goons. Hiyo kitu nimeongea juzi, waache kutumi. Utakufa, baba yako atapata atahusunika. Na hilo utakufa, baba yako hatakuwa karibu, atapata usu. Na utatai msaada wa kulipwa, pesa utape. Watoke pande ile.
Authority says forensic analysis of viral videos and other evidence is helping identify more suspects, while the Inspector General has directed the Internal Affairs Unit to review the police response and establish whether operational lapses contributed to the violence. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
1-2, Mike.
Right. Good morning once again. That story that has just ran, as reported by my colleague Michael Kagwango, is the basis of our next discussion. Goonism. It's exactly 400 days to the next election, August 10th, 2027. 400 days. Should we expect this kind of activity in these 400 days? The Standard has actually given this story quite some coverage, as spread on pages 6 and 7. On one side, rule of goons, is Kenya going the Haiti way? Remember, we sent over 200 police officers to Haiti to handle the same problem there. How come they're not able to do so here in Kenya? Feed goon monster at your own peril, leaders want. The potential risks of allowing this to continue. This is what I want us to look at with my panelists this morning. Beginning on my immediate left, Kevin Osido, who's a governance specialist and the executive director, County Governance Watch. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Fred. Thank you so much.
Yes. We also have Professor Fred Ogola, who's an economics and governance expert. He's also the co-director, Macmillan Medical College. Karibu sana, Professor.
Thank you very much, Fred.
He's also a presidential candidate.
Yes.
Great to have you in studio.
Is it aspirant?
You're already a candidate for your party. Yeah.
Those are not legal.
And depending on once he's cleared or not by the IBC,
by IBC,
he becomes
correct.
a candidate.
Yeah, correct.
Was on the ballot, yes. Yeah. But yes, allow me to introduce Advice Mundalo, a familiar face on the panel. He's a leadership and communications expert. Advice, karibu sana.
Asante.
Yes, we talk about this Goonism, a lot of criticism, a lot of dissecting of what the problem could be, fine, it's not a new problem in Kenya, but this time round we seem to have reduced it to, okay, fine, it's just youth unemployment and that's it. So no one can do anything about it. Youth are unemployed and that's it. Let's move on. No one appears to be taking this as something heavy, a heavy burden that we need to carry, ensure it's out of the way before the general election next year. It's simply dismissing it as fine, youth unemployment, and that's it. Do you see the potential risk in that?
Thank you so much, Fred. Of course, there is enormous risk insofar as what we are looking at is concerned, particularly, as you rightfully said, a few less than 400 days to the next general election. And one of the biggest concerns is, what are we doing about it? And we honestly must do something about it. Youth unemployment, yes, but that's quite an excuse insofar as where I am seated is concerned. Because if you look at the level of investment of government resources in what we are calling youth unemployment and employment opportunities, there are close to over 17 funds that siphons taxpayers' monies into what is supposed to provide opportunities in this country. In addition to that, there are more than 23 different government programs, including affordable housing. If you go to climate issues, you get into agriculture. Why are our young people unemployed? There must be something really that is not adding to the levels of investment that government is putting insofar as efforts to ensure that young people are employed. Because if you look at how we launch these programs up to the level where His Excellency the President is the one presiding over, why can't we see impact? Why are we not seeing something meaningful that young people can actually carry home and move over with? So youth unemployment to me is an excuse around the kind of security infrastructure that Kenya has. And as we began this conversation, you made reference to our engagements in Haiti, etc. If Kenya actually at the level of the UN was able to engage in response and prevention in Haiti, why is it so difficult for us to be able to, look at Vitukwa ground, what Kenyans are going through, and ensure that we have effective response insofar as Goonism and Goons is concerned? Now, what I see therefore are two things. One, that the politicians have captured the security infrastructure of this country, and that has made it difficult for security, therefore, to respond effectively, up to the level where, Fred, during daytime, you see people locking roads, major roads in this country, and
without consequence.
Without any consequence. We haven't seen any arrests. We did not see any clear police response. There must be something fundamentally wrong that we are not that we are not doing, that is therefore making all these things to happen. And in my view, it really borders on politicization of security, where we are beginning to name call and throw excuses at each other. And number two is that some of our constitutional instruments have failed to do their work. For example, NCIC, when people mobilize goons, why are we not summoning them and ensuring that we have heavy penalties that make it so difficult to even think about the desire to want to engage with goons again? And then finally is on arrests. We are not seeing consequential arrests that make it so difficult for young people, therefore, to begin to even get afraid of being used as goons, either to interfere with somebody's politically mobilized campaign, or even to want to get into action that therefore make it difficult for Kenyans to live in peace.
Prof, if we could diagnose a problem, yes, it's one thing to dismiss it as youth unemployment, and it sounds very easy, and many people may agree with that. Yes, unemployment is at record levels this time around. But do you agree that it's simply about youth unemployment? We've seen even some of these acts of goonism, or even goons, known goons, linked to very high government officials, including principal secretaries. What does this mean? Is it simply youth unemployment?
No, Fred, first of all, we can say it's youth unemployment, but youth unemployment is not what I call in Latin, causa causarum, the cause of causes. Because there's a final cause. Like for us, being a Catholic, we believe God is the cause of all causes. God created everything. In the end, it ends with God. So here in the issue is economic. But what's the problem that we are there? We've had very bad economic policies from the very beginning. And we inherited a colonial system which was not pro-people, and we have not changed it. If you look at it from the very beginning, the colonials wanted to find a way to control the Africans. Is that not why they introduced taxes? That's when you have to pay taxes, or you have to work, they have to control you. Our politicians pray every day that we remain poor. And that's the only way we can be able to have control. So all the policies we make are poverty policies. Come to affordable housing. It's meant to perpetuate poverty. Come to the health system in Kenya. It is to perpetuate poverty. Come to how we get food. It's perpetuating poverty. We are importing food. We are not producing food. When you go to healthcare system, we are being told a foreigner will spend 11 billion to build for you an IT system when young people can build it. So the best way to control a human being is to keep them hungry so that you continue giving them food. Why do your cat like you? Because a cat can't produce. You only give a cat food, a dog, isn't it? So we have been introduced to an animal status. When I was living in my father's house, when a lunch depended on my father, dinner depended on him, and breakfast, I would do only what my father wants. The day I got my job, I have my gate. I can call the watchman when I am meters away. I can sleep outside, come home at 3 a.m. and he will open the gate. There is no rule. When I was under my father's house, when I had no livelihoods, he could control me. I can tell you of a very painful phone call I had over the fence from one very senior politician in this country who was talking to his friend on the phone, but I was just we're just sharing a fence. And he told him, I've heard you are hiring so-and-so from this community. He was talking from his own community, because I don't want people to figure out who this guy. Why are you empowering those people? And he said, a poor person from that community is a good person, because we can use him or her. This is the thinking of a politician. Fred, do you know that if you go to your village and tell your MP knows that you're working for TV47 and that you don't need anything from them, they don't like you because you become an opponent. So the philosophical thinking that a poor Kenyan is a good Kenyan because they are available for a rally. There's no mother in this country that gave birth to a child conceived as a goon. No one was conceived as a goon, friend. All of us conceived as a child of God who had got a definite role to play, which was either you become a teacher, either you become a doctor, or you become a media personality, or get some work to do. So the philosophy of this country has been, now how are they executing it? Corruption. Fred, I've explained this to you, and I will repeat today, that we don't have a tax problem in Kenya, we don't have a revenue problem in Kenya, we don't have a money problem in Kenya, we have the issue of corruption. When Uhuru was president, they said we lose 2 billion shillings per day to corruption, isn't it? 2 years later, after I left office, we are told corruption has doubled. So that means now it is 4 billion per day, isn't it? With a tax revenue of 9 billion per day, we are losing 4 billion shillings per day out of 9 billion to corruption. So we talk about this budget of 4.82 trillion. That is 42% of that budget. It takes us to 2.08 trillion going to corruption. If you are president today, Fred, and you have 2.08 billion shillings as corruption, and you stop trillion, and you stop that thing and put on industrialization, youth unemployment, you get me? You will cure this problem. Yep. So the problem is not about police. I disagree with Kevin Osido. You arrest these people, what will happen is that the same politicians will go to court to get them a cash bill, isn't it? Then you are enriching the government.
Okay.
You know, because this government makes money from cash bills. Some of them, you find a young man who has never earned 1,000 bob, you give him a cash bill of 10,000. Yeah. So I want to end by saying, Goonism and all these things has become an economy. Yes. An economy where everybody gains from it. Politicians gets it, but the government earns money from it.
And you've said something, Prof, that I would want advice to come into with. And I think Kevin also mentioned it, the kind of interventions that the government has made, just to ensure that youth unemployment is actually contained or at least countered. Are we saying that these interventions have failed? Are we saying that it's government policy that is failing the youth when the same government talks about how much employment they've created for the youth? Is that, if at all we still blame Goonism on youth unemployment, and the government says that we've done all this, has what the government used to intervene failed?
Thank you very much, Fred, and thank you for inviting me this morning. First, I want to say that we cannot be able to say that government intervention has necessarily failed, because I have been there and I've seen so many young people that have been able to benefit from many of these interventions. The culture that we are growing in Kenya, which is becoming dangerous in my view, is that for every vice, we have an excuse for it. And for every crime, we have an excuse for it, especially when it's about young people. And that's why I remember last time we were having a conversation here, and when the young people had burnt dormitories, we still wanted to look for something to blame except them. So in my view, we must be able to face the vice in its reality and tell the young people that this is a dangerous path that you're taking, because there can never be a sufficient excuse for crime. Just because your salary is delayed at TV47 is not a reason for you to live with the cameras in the evening. So you cannot be able to do that, and then your reason is that you see there was a salary delay. So we must be able to call crime in its name. So what is happening around this goon culture is essentially crime. And young people must be told that this is dangerous. One of the things that can actually happen to you in line of those kind of things is that you can actually die. We just saw the other day that, unfortunately, we were able to lose one of the young people, I think during some forum or something like that. So the culture of making young people believe that they are right and everyone else is wrong makes them continue in the line that they are. It makes them continue in that path. And unfortunately, when the consequences come, the consequences don't understand that language of who hired you, and who has the blunt of responsibility. At the end of the day, then the consequences come, everyone runs away from them. The politicians will run away from them. And then the consequence will be very personal, that it's you who will be arrested, it's you who will face a jail term, because these people run away from you. So for me, it is, before we even talk about who hires the goons, we must be able to understand that these goons are actually young people. And they must be able to be cautioned first that, you know what, this is a dangerous path that you are heading to. We cannot explain how someone can go. I saw that on your screens yesterday, that people can go to a restaurant during the day and rob people and take their phones, but then we want to excuse it. We want to look for something else, Fred, and say, this is because of youth unemployment. This is because of something else. This is because there's nothing that can excuse bad manners, in my view.
And there are those people charged, with, of course, with the responsibility of ensuring the security of the nation and ensuring that criminal elements are handled. Let's listen to the PS in charge of Interior, Raymond Omolo, and what he had to say about this trend.
Na mimi nasema tumekuwa na changamoto ya kazi ama ajira kwa vijana wetu hapa taifa. Na kama kuna mwanasiasa anataka kusukuma mambo yake ya kisiasa, tusiwaruhusu kutumia wanabodaboda ili waende walete vurugu ama wachome mtu ama wapige mtu. Na wewe kama mwanabodaboda ama mkaaji wa hapa Vihiga, kama kuna mwanasiasa ambaye umpendi, tafadhali usiende kwa mkutano yake.
Pia tumebakia na mwaka mmoja, vile Jarango amesema, kuenda uchaguzi. Usiogope. Kaa kama ule jamaa alikuwa anaitwa John Njoroge Michuki. Hii maneno ya goons, crack down goons, election, we want a peaceful election, because tunajua William Samuel Ruto anaenda kushinda with a huge margin. Mko tayari kusupport William Ruto?
Safari nao ni ile. Sisi tunasimama na Rais William Samoei Ruto. Na ili hiyo ikuwe rahisi kusema na kusema tu term ikuwe rahisi, empowerment pia fanye nini? Ifike, si ndio?
That was a PS, the first person who spoke. The PS in charge of Interior, the person who's supposed to be ensuring that everything is secure, that Goonism is considered a crime and taken care of. But even the Deputy Governor, Savula for Kakamega, seems to suggest that there's some reluctance. He called it woga, and made a comparison with John Mishuki, that you need to do something. It would appear we can identify where the problem is, that the Ministry of Interior is not doing what it should do. Do you agree that probably that's where the buck stops?
Fred, that's probably where the buck stops, because if you look at our leadership and governance architecture, issues that have to do with security are domiciled in a ministry. And that ministry is the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, where also security falls in. And so for the Principal Secretary to come over, I remember listening to him, he's talking about changamoto katika mambo ya kazi kwa vijana. And the PS, my good friend Dr. Molo knows that the president, as I said earlier on, has been very categorical around how to provide spaces for young people. And we have more than 40 plus programs in this government, both national and county levels, where young people are expected to be empowered economically. There must be a point at which these interventions, therefore, are not meeting the rightful young people. The impact is minimal, Fred. And if you look at some of the analysis that as an institution, County Governance Watch, together with others, we have done, insofar as the impact of many of these, or rather most of these government programs, the youth do not feel them. Which therefore, in my view, because the PS also leads a framework within government that brings together a number of other government agencies, is basically what is called the all of government WOGA, whole of government, whole of society approach, WOGA-WOSA. And so what the PS therefore needs to do, in my view, is to ask the principal secretaries something that County Governance Watch has done with all the 13 affirmative action funds. We have had meetings with all the CEOs and director generals of all the affirmative action funds, and we have asked them, how are your interventions addressing where really the young people are feeling that they are not being felt or they are not being met in terms of your interventions by government? And some of the issues that have come up, for example, is a feedback. You know, some of these funds are funds where you apply and you have to wait for a feedback for you to either get to a response, whether you've made it to be funded or not. That feedback takes maybe 2 years. One thing that some of the recommendations we have made with some of these funds is do this feedback, issue this feedback within 3 months, so that a youth is not seated at home hoping that my application is going to go through and that at the end of it I'm going to get funding, yet you know very well that those things are not going to happen. So I believe that there is probably a disconnect between how government interventions...
So the interventions have failed according to you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, Fred, I would give the failure to 7. So 70% of the interventions have not met youth, the expectations of young people. And that is where government now needs to get back to its, forte and ask, what is it that we are not doing right that we need to be doing? Because moving forward, and this is both at national and county levels, because even county governments also have interventions where they are supposed to be meeting with the young people and trying to address some of these concerns. But ultimately is the kind of impunity that we see in the inability of the law to carry the day, so that young people, even as Prof says, that it is the politicians who go and bail them. Every goon, like we normally say, every dog that barks at a market has an owner. There's somebody who ties this dog at some point and says, okay, now go and bark. When they need to recall them back, they recall them back and put them in their kennel. We must focus on how we deal with these politicians, because there is no young person that I know or that I don't know that will wake up and just out of their own personal volition want to go and attack somebody who is just attending a rally. There must have been some influence, whether from a politician, who
or even a senior government official,
etc., or even like a senior government official.
All right, and that is what we'll be talking about after the break. The role that politicians and senior government, unfortunately, senior government officials play in this, even as we continue to look at this risk posed to the integrity of the next general election. You're watching TV47 Breakfast. We'll be right back after this.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako. Hamna pesa.
I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni live. Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? Hi-fi?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero make a beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
We won't entertain divas. No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that a hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Ooh, yeah. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning?
To escape from a resort.
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
I just want to be in the zone.
Nairobi, where the hustle never sleeps and neither do the scammers.
Link up, we are.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching TV47 Breakfast as we continue dissecting this issue that's troubling the country. 400 days to the next general election, the country is facing a serious security issue. We may call it goonism, we may call it gangs, we may call it general insecurity, but it's a problem nonetheless. But we do have at least one person who's aspiring to be president. And Prof, you know you've been accused so many times of being very idealistic, and some of your ideas may not be practical, but if you were president today, what would you do? How would you correct this problem?
I've told you the Kenyan problem is economic, and it's being mismanaged by corruption, 1. 2, mispriorities. We are putting money on the wrong part of the economy. You're putting money on the right part of the economy. And then, of course, we are just overexpending. If you solve those 3 problems, everyone will have life. And let me just try to explain you what's the problem. An economy where the youth fears tomorrow is not a stable economy, because every youth fears tomorrow. There's no youth who looks at tomorrow with optimism. When I was growing up, we used to fear Monday. Why? Because it was a day of work. But now, who fears Monday? No one has a job. So when you go and fix the corruption problem, EACC should be disbanded immediately. EACC has taken 58 billion shillings from Kenya.
And Prof, we're talking about specifics because you say you have a direct...
So I've told you, corruption ends with EACC being dead. You understand me? Everybody who has stolen money should just go to the right criminal way, because we have all the structures. We are creating too many institutions for nothing to spend our money. As we speak about youth unemployment that you've heard PS talking about, do you know there's called Employment Authority of Kenya? With a website where you should go register and get a job. And that website never works. Go in it now. Anybody listening to me, go register to get a job in Youth Employment Authority. There's a website which doesn't work.
And Prof, I think we agree there are things that don't work.
I'm simply saying...
During the break, you are suggesting that you have a direct solution to this problem.
Yes.
You even talked about a prototype. I want us to take us through that prototype.
Jobs.
A direct solution to this problem of unemployment.
So my solution, I call it a silver bullet. Because the Kenyan problems are 4. 1, high debt. 2, high inflation. 3, over-taxation, which is creating a burden on people's lives. 3, for purchasing power, the Kenyan shilling is very weak. And of course, lastly, unemployment. With creating 100,000 jobs per county, you bring 4.7 million taxpayers to the tax bucket, and you lower the burden on Kenyans. So that is solved.
In one go.
In one go. Debt problem, when you are having more people paying taxes from these jobs they've created, there's no borrowing. You get me? And of course, this is going to review that. That's not the story of debt review, isn't it? Inflation. When we are producing more and there's less demand, inflation goes down. When you produce that you can export, immediately the Kenya shillings come under a high demand, and for that matter, the Kenya shillings become strong. That even lowers the cost of importing fuel and the rest. Now you're asking, how do you create these jobs? Fred, go to who has done well, America. America started producing sugar cane. And the sugar cane is what built the American economy. If you read my book called Solomonic Economics, explained in details. For us, we are investing money on housing, isn't it? On railway. Those are end-use products. They never work. You have to win from primary production. And I'm going to do large-scale primary production of agricultural products for export. When I go to Lamu, for example.
So 100,000 jobs per county.
Per county.
In agriculture.
Yes, which means 3,300 per ward, which means 2,200 per polling station. That's actually per village. That problem is solved. The formula is simple, Fred. When I go to Lamu, actually I've taken some, I don't want to mention because you know people here, but 100,000, if I get, when 50,000 acres of land is in Lamu, the immediate thing you do, you get people, youth, 2 youths per acre is 100,000. You don't have to wait for the products to mature. We are building railway, which might be productive 10 years later, isn't it? Why not start this one and start paying these people immediately? They are in a job, and you put a seed capital, and the jobs are produced. It's as simple as such.
Okay.
Because, Fred, if I tell you the truth, do you know, let me just give you an analogy, and I'm sorry to use this example. If I give you a condom, what will you use it for? Only one function. Listen. But if I go and build, let's say, a farm which has got trees that produce latex, isn't it? Latex can produce rubber. Rubber can produce everything. So we should not start at the end user like housing. Mm-hmm. Housing is an end user product.
Okay.
Economic shows that start from primary production, you create a value chain for everybody, so everybody earns. But here is whereby you are building a house. Only the one who can afford the house can use it.
Okay.
But I believe we need to go to primary production.
Okay.
When Kenya was focusing on primary production, economy was much better. Now we are just focusing on end-user products like railway. Like now, I'm sorry for my brother Osido, who believes that taking SGR to Kisumu will help. Railway.
Prof, I didn't say
sorry.
I believe it.
I think we've done the diagnosis.
Fred, I'm finishing. Railway went to Kisumu in 1901, isn't it? SGR is another name for railway. Standard gauge railway. Mm-hmm. It will still go to Kisumu in 2026, okay. And poverty will be there again 20 years later, 50 years later.
I want us to go beyond now diagnosing where the problem is. We look at the potential risks. Because advice, you've seen the kind of risk we've seen historically with the Sungu, Mongiki, the other Jeshi la Mzee, and how they affect the integrity of elections. Yeah. And once they build up towards election day and what happens after that. Yeah. And we've never been able to sort it out. Do you see the same risk playing out this time? That these ones have the tendency of becoming uncontrollable, especially as you get closer to the election day. And the question being asked is Kenya going the Haiti way, where the gangs actually now take over eventually?
You see, Fred, as it stands now, one of the biggest budgets of anyone running for office in Kenya today is security. Because it is continuously becoming very, very difficult for you to even navigate the paths. And as time goes by, it's going even to be more difficult for people like Osido, even doing their meetings of county governance watch in Bungoma County. It might not be possible to hold a meeting that is even meant to empower the youth without having to pay some people to take care of that meeting. As it sits today in my county of Bungoma, it is very difficult for you as a politician to attend even a funeral. It's becoming more and more untenable. Why? Because it looks like for you to be able to engage the people, you need to pay some people, you need to pay some youth to be able to work with you and all these kind of things. So the security sector must really take this with the seriousness that it deserves. And that's why I've kept saying that we must not look for an excuse for it and call it youth unemployment and such. I was part of a political mobilization function 2 weeks ago in Umoja, where we were thoroughly attacked and vehicles banned and such kind of things. But you realize the lead people in that operation that we call goons are not necessarily unemployed people. They are people who work somewhere. They are employed people. That's why, for me, the caveat of youth unemployment as the primary cause of this is wrong. This is simply criminal activity. And criminal activity must be dealt with as crime. Otherwise, when we keep looking for an excuse for criminal enterprises, then trust me, Fred, by the time we get to the election, there will be no crime in Kenya. Every crime will have. Of course, you see when you are the PS interior, he must also be politically correct. And of course, there is that element of youth unemployment. I'm not saying it does not exist. It does exist. It actually does exist. But my caveat is that when we are looking at the problem of goons and all this, and you've rightfully put up the right examples and asked, are we going the Haiti way? For us to be able to look at it in the face and deal with it, then we must look at it purely as crime. It must not be covered. We have developed this culture of covering everything.
Do you think that we have enough time to counter it the security way?
Sure.
Listening to the PS, even the CS interior, and the statements they've made so far, we've had instances where a PS, a very senior government official, is linked to some goons. And you wonder, okay, fine, do we have time to reverse this before the next election?
Fred, I don't doubt the capacity of Kenya to get security right. If anything, I don't even doubt the capacity of Dr. Omolo to really handle this. Remember, ever since Dr. Omolo came in, we've had reduction in the problems in the northern hemisphere that were disturbing us all the time. Ever since they came in, we have there was a time terrorism was on the high here. We were having the Westgate attack and all these things. So there's something that they have been able to do from those ends. So I believe that just handling this goon culture is something that they can actually handle once
the deputy governor Kakamega seems to suggest kuna uoga. You need to be like Mishuki. There's some reluctance.
I don't know.
You know the problem, but you're like, ni kazi hakuna.
I really believe that we have one of the best intelligence systems even within our security sector, at least within the East African region and even the African region. So when our interior docket and when our security sector chooses to really handle this menace, it will actually come to an end. Look at what they did. Look at what they did in Kitale just about a month ago. There was a big problem in Kitale. I think less than 3 weeks later, the Kitale is very quiet now. So it's actually something that is not a question of how much time do they need. No, it's just a question of the moment they choose to do it, that is it.
What was your interjection? Briefly, because it's
I disagree with the advice because I'm an economist and we believe in numbers, isn't it? We don't believe on stories.
Yeah.
How many policemen do we have in Kenya? It's around 150,000, isn't it? For 56 million people, police cannot solve the problem.
But we're not all goons.
It is anchored on the
just wait.
imagination
just
that
wait.
56 million people are goons.
I agree with him, and that's why I'm telling him that goon has become an economy where people earn money, people earn a living, they educate and uneducated because it's been created. Government own goons, opposition own goons, everybody own goons. Now there's even some CEOs have their goons because some things you can't do without it. It's become an economy. You want to launch even Omo in Kibra. Without goons, you can't. You get my point? So you want to run a school, isn't it? You also have to find how to manage it. So what I'm trying to talk about here, Fred, is that we cannot say that we want to become like P.S. Omolo should become like Michuki at this time. He will have a problem. The same mentality is what killed Gen Zs on 25th of June 2024. The best way to control people is to ensure that you take care of them. That's it. Let me tell you, Fred, even you go home, let's say I have 5 kids at home and my wife. Immediately, I cannot take care of them, I'll have a problem. They'll come after me. It will happen anywhere. So what is the youth asking for? That's what you should be asking, other than, are they goons? To demystify this thing, even New York, remember, let me give you a history about the US. The Italians became very dangerous in Al Capone movie, you know it. It is only when they Kmart brought the New York economy to boom the way it's booming, to become a financial center. Goonism became useless. Goonism is not in Kenya. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 16 says, there's nothing new under the sun. Whatever Kenya is going through is not unique
It has
to
happened
Kenya.
before.
It has happened elsewhere
and I like
and
the
was
fact
solved.
that you used the New York example, that it was run by gangs at some point. We've seen Haiti, what's happening. It's a reality that, yes, it could get to a point that security apparatus, actually the entire structure of government crumbles. And this goons or gangs or whoever runs this insecurity elements become the leaders.
That's correct, Fred. And that is only possible if we fail to do certain things correctly.
Kama kuna uoga, ile Savula amesema.
Na Mheshimiwa Savula anapoongea pale, sababu Mheshimiwa Savula is not like any other commoner. This is a gentleman who has the right to sit in what is called the CSIC, the County Security and Intelligence Committee of his own county in Kakamega. So when he says kuna uoga, there is some intel that he has. There is some information that he knows about. Now, that information is not for consumers of a political rally or a funeral like where he is seated. He has to retreat back and ask, how can we make good use of the kind of information that I have? He's seated there with the PS for internal security. He has to get back to boosting the security architecture with the information that he has. And I believe that that is part of where we have a challenge. Where even NIS, the National Intelligence Service, will do its work, certain names will be mentioned, but there is probably a fear in touching those specific names.
Could it be down to the character of these individuals? The suggestion that Mishuki would have done a better job says a lot. That yes, you may be given a certain job, but the character that you have simply cannot allow you. That probably PS Omolo is too soft to act on this. CS Murkomen is too arrogant to act on such. And for that, don't you think that the appointing authority needs to change them? If at all you fail in security, why do we insist on keeping you there?
You see, Fred, again, how we appoint people into some of these dockets says a lot, because the president in his wisdom has a very good reason why even upon the reshuffle, he actually appointed Mheshimiwa Kipchumba Murkomen to be the CS. And over time, in his almost end of his first term, he has a good reason why PS Omolo is a PS for internal security. Now, this is something that goes beyond what we can see.
Is there a better reason than protecting the lives of Kenyans? For the president, can there be a better reason for appointing anyone to that position?
So let me just finish my point. Because as you appoint people, remember all these people sit in these offices by virtue of sovereign power of the Kenyan citizens. These people are vetted by individuals who are also elected. So there is a very clear framework within which somebody gets appointed and actually sits in office. The president also chairs what is called the National Security Advisory Council, NSAC, which is also a constitutional body. And to the extent that Kenyans are feeling what they are feeling right now, honestly calls upon the president to begin to ask certain individuals critical questions. And that is why I'm saying that the architecture of security in Kenya allows the DG, Deputy Governor for Kakamega, Mheshimiwa Ayub Savula, the opportunity to volunteer the information so that the county commissioner knows that you imagine that we are afraid. Yes, we are afraid because if we touch so and so, certain phone calls will be made.
And it's down to the same thing. The question now we are asking is, do we have the right people at the helm of managing Kenya's security infrastructure? Because the suggestion that someone else could have done a better job means that whoever is there is unable to do so.
Of course, Fred, you know that the reference to the former CS Mishuki is both unconstitutional in the sense that we cannot be advocating for extrajudicial killings. Right now, we even are celebrating because we have police officers being paraded in courts, something that you could not see initially. We have people now having to undertake what we call individual responsibility, as opposed to the environment that Mheshimiwa Mishuki operated in. Of course, there was the aspect of fear, and when the President William Ruto came into force, he said there are certain institutions like Special Branch, etc., that were enforced then that will not, be at play within the context of...
Would it be the problem, advice, that probably our laws have made us choose characters who are not suited for the job? That the structure does not allow a strong character to be in charge of security because there would be excesses in the kind of force they would employ? Because the issue is, what Savula said, it's about the character of the individual there. That another name, another person in the same position would have done different.
Fred, first of all, arrogance does not mean you are good at dealing with security. Because sometimes our judgment of you being good at dealing with security is how much you can shout and how arrogant you can become. And I think that is extremely wrong. I started by saying that, yes, there is a goon problem in Kenya today. But in the struggle to look for a solution, we should not be able to now forget even the gains that the security sector have been able to do so far. I started by telling you about the matters about the banditry in North Rift. The banditry that was so much and the escalation was so much that it made Natembeya a celebrity and therefore made him governor without solving the problem. Today, you don't hear of that. When you look at the issues of counter-terrorism, at some point in this country, we were moving from one terror attack to the other. Since Dr. Raymond Omolo and others came into office, we have not been able to see that. We look at what is happening within our borders. So the truth is that there has been significant progress in terms of taking care of the security infrastructure of the country. Not necessarily through shouting, not necessarily through arrogance, but just putting things in place. And that's why I've kept insisting that even with the goons culture that is cropping up, this is something that they can actually be able to handle. You must also remember, Fred, that cabinet secretary appointments and PS appointments are political appointments. So they will always happen politically. And so we cannot be able to say that we'll always know every reason why whichever office holder holds a cabinet position, because at the end of the day, it's a discretion of the president, and when the president does that appointment, he takes it to parliament.
But do you agree that some appointments, even by the president, have not been probably the best, that some people given certain jobs have not performed at those jobs? Is it a possibility?
Performance, Fred, is about your appointing authority. Your appointing authority knows what you are supposed to do, and therefore, whether you've performed or not, is for him to judge and not the one who did not appoint you. So the reality is that whereas we have some people that me and you might feel like, wait a minute, like what the PS education said. I was very agitated with it, and last time we had this conversation here, when he talked about this some weird statement that he made that even triggered the president to move him from one place to the other, whereas in my view, I thought he would even have been kicked out instead of being moved. But again, at the end of the day, those are political appointments, and the judgment of how much performance has been done, fortunately or unfortunately, is about the appointing authority. And our law has also been able to give us a laid down structure. That's why Kevin is saying after they do their research, they'll sit down with the heads of these parastatals and be able to give, because that is the structure. Unfortunately, sometimes we want to gaslight the country into just annoyance and believing that we can do some things parallel to the law. If we feel that the law is not serving us, we change the law. We don't just become angry, we change the law.
And if we feel that whoever is at the helm of our security structure is not doing it, we change the person. That is what happens in other jurisdictions. People resign when security apparatus doesn't work properly.
Fred, I think that you accuse me of being theoretical, but I think these guys are being more theoretical. These guys are being more theoretical than I am.
On what now?
There's something we call perfect personality assumption. Normally, when a bank is not performing, they fire the CEO, then they bring a new CEO, isn't it? Kenya Airways has been on this road for the longest time possible. You know that. I can give a case. As an economist, there's something called use case. Is this proposal you're offering having worked anywhere else? When bottom-up economic model was proposed, I said it cannot work. Why? I was an economist at European Central Bank, and Joe Biden proposed it that we help him craft it, because Joe Biden knew that after Obama, he will be president. He will try. So he brought this model in European Central Bank in the year 2009, when I was studying in Spain. I was in Brussels. We sat on it. And my recommendation is that it cannot work. So we gave reasons why it cannot work. When it was proposed by Ruto in Kenya, I said it will not work. Now, no matter who is the president, no matter who is the CS, it is not working. And that's where the problems begins. We can be window dressing this issue, but the fundamental problem in security is economics. Tell me economically unstable economy, and I'll tell you an economy which has insecurity. And tell me a country with good security, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm just simply telling you that we cannot handle, the policemen cannot handle, no matter who is there. Look at what happened on June 25th. I knew, as among all the organizers of that Mandamano, there'll be only 750 policemen in town. When you bring 1 million, they'll be overwhelmed. So the point we are trying to draw here by saying we cannot become a police state. Raila used to say police state. What is police state? A police state is a state whereby it is governed by how much police have power. You understand? But citizens at work have no issue with you being goons. Because even these guys who use goons, they use people who are not available. How much are they cost? They used to cost 100 bob at some point. Now they have gone to 200. It has gone to 500. The figures continue going up. And the more that figure goes up, the more attracts people who have no job. So we can go in and out. Then I want to tell my brother advice. I like what you said when you stated that youth are just being criminals and they should be called for it, isn't it? As a Catholic, they are very tight for people in the church. They are Christians whom even when they are under distress, they can deal with it. Just like in life, there are people who, a small thing, they say a psychologist, they say a psychiatric. Some of us, we can be under pressure, but we cannot see a psychiatric because we have the mental ability to deal with it. Like, do you know, for example, there's a bishop who went to church and told people that you cannot dress a miniskirt because you put everybody you put other people in temptation, isn't it? There are people, when they see a miniskirt, it does not matter. Others can't concentrate. So people are different. So just like young people, there could be 80% of them that needs leadership, needs guidance. Why do we talk about leadership when the youth can deal with their own problems? Then let us not even have a government then, so that youth can solve their problems.
Okay.
Government is taking money from people.
My question to you,
and
Prof.
they are responsible to help them.
Prof. Do you think we have the right people at the helm of the security structure?
Where does it
Kenya
start?
Currently?
You've heard me saying that must go, has to go, is going, in Jesus' name, plus his dogs. So when you see, for example, let me give an example.
I'm talking about security.
Yes. Let me tell you, from when you become a coach of Manchester club, isn't it? You always come with your coaching team. You understand? When you go with them, isn't it? So when the president was elected, he came with his team. One question we asked Fred, and I can take you back in 202.
No, I want us to move on to a different
The team that William Ruto came with to government cannot deliver. You know the intention of a coach, but the team he selects. So this team has not performed.
Okay.
And the only thing we are trying to say here is that the president remains with the mandate. They brought the team of experts, isn't it? The team of experts have not been very expertise enough as well. So the team is not just like one ministry. One ministry you've not had for long in the Ministry of Labor, isn't it? Headed by Alfred Mutua. You understand me? That ministry is the most important ministry for the young people in this country. Because if they fix the problem can work, then don't look at Interior as independent ministry.
Okay.
There's interdependence.
All right.
It must work also with the issue of Treasury, how it is doing its own policy, Ministry of Labor, how it is working, isn't it? Education, how it's working. All these things work interrelatedly. You can't say now, you can remove PS Omolo from that ministry, put somebody else, but youth unemployment continues.
Right.
Education is not working.
Right.
There are interrelatedness in this matter.
Thank you, Prof. You wanted to add something?
I just wanted to add that, Fred, as we head towards the next, the 2027 general election, we are seeing an uprising, as you rightfully indicated earlier on, of gangs almost in half of the counties, from Confirm in Nakuru to Panga Boys at the coast to Superpower in Nairobi and all these other places. I do not think that we have to specifically domicile this to individuals in the Ministry of Interior. It has to call upon everyone in leadership, particularly within that particular ministry, so that, for example, we have mechanisms or interventions like what we used to have with Kazi Mtani, you know, where young people are mobilized from a specific locality So in the network, they know themselves, so that as they come to work in the morning, before they are dispersed, a register is clicked, and anyone who is missing, the officer in charge of that particular troop has to account for where Kevin is, so that if there is any mobilization for a political rally, we are able to trace that individual. Ultimately, before they are deployed to go and clean wherever they are cleaning, there is a training. For example, I am privileged to have participated in some of these trainings where we take them through, for example, savings and loaning. So you are paid, say, 700 shillings per day. How much do you save? How long will it take you? Can you even have a loaning mechanism for that money that you are taking? And these are programs that I think that if government is deliberate to be able to cure the concerns around youth unemployment, they are possible. Number two, we have what is called the county aggregation industrial parks. At least half of the counties have something that they are good and known for. And at County Governance Watch and other partners, we normally say, one product, one county. Okay. Can we be able to analyze what kind of industries we can be able to build within the counties, so that this rural to urban to semi-urban migration that we are seeing is actually cured at the county level, which is almost similar to industrialization policy that Prof was talking about. But it has to move from just the political talk and the launch and all these things. We have to see these things being done, and that investment that government is putting, insofar as money is concerned, the youth are also able to actually see how beneficial that becomes to them.
On this matter of insecurity, one of the most vocal people on social media, that's Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, Senior Counsel. On this case of that case where some gang came into a restaurant and stole a few items, he says, P.S. Raymond Omolo, and this is on his official X handle, P.S. Raymond Omolo sings smooth lullabies on the wonderful roads and affordable houses the government of Kenya builds. Mark you, this is someone who supports this government. And he says, we appreciate the good work by GOK, but he forgot long time his day job. Armed robbers have now taken over our towns. That's Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, Senior Counsel, on his X handle. Rule of Goons, is Kenya going the Haiti way? Is the question on page 6 of the Standard. Feed goon monster at your own peril, leaders warned. Acts of organized violence are increasingly becoming problem in the democratic space. And another quote here by Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, head of the Anglican Church, he says, we live at a time when people are tempted to believe that power belongs to those who command the loudest voices, the biggest crowds, or those with the capacity to intimidate others with weapons and even kill. Serious concerns expressed by some senior members of this society on this growing concern over goons and goonism. 400 days before the next general election. It's what we're trying to talk about. Probably we cannot exhaust it, but we do hope that something will be done, especially by those at the helm of the security infrastructure in Kenya. We always at least try and give some time to politics. Yeah, it's 10 days to the old Kalou by-election, 400 days to the next election. The president yesterday was in Embu and said that he cannot be advised by a one-term member of parliament, or a member of parliament who has only served one term. Meanwhile, the United Alternative Government are struggling or grappling with whether or not they can come up with a single candidate. These are just some of the political discussions, 400 days to the next general election. And I want us to just spare some time. We only have about 10, 15 minutes to that. And we start with your advice. Where are we heading? Is the president a bit anxious, you think, especially with the whole Kalou by-elections in 10 days' time? It's been said that it will be a big determinant of who's the force in Mount Kenya.
I think the person who needs to be anxious about Ol Kalou is more Rigathi than Ruto, because the person who has been able to claim to be the king of the mountain is Rigathi Gachagua. And once or twice, he has not been able to prove that, at least not in Mount Kenya East, where he has lost by-elections in Mbeere, both for the parliamentary seat and all the MCA seats. So the chant that he has continued to chant, that I am the king of the mountain, here is a chance for him to prove, okay, fine, we might say this was Mount Kenya East. Now this is the heart of the mountain. And by mere fact that I see a lot of wailing and crying on social media around the election, the script of these elections has always been the same, that the one who starts complaining first is more likely the loser. You always were able to see during all the elections, when you see the person who starts holding then a number of press conferences talking about IEBC, that Goons here, there's someone who has been in, most likely that person is more likely going to be the loser. And I'm seeing a lot of that happening at DCP, despite the fact that this is actually supposed to be an easy win for them if what they say is anything to go by. But at the end of the day, what will happen in the election, as I have always observed in the previous election, is that he who is the most organized person, he who will be able to bring out their people to actually vote, that is the person who will actually win the election. And it will be a big egg on Rigathi Gachagwa's face and on the DCP face in the event that they lose the Kalou by-election, because I don't know whether they will still be up and down chanting the narrative of it was rigged and all that. Because if this is your stronghold, if this is actually where you're saying that you have, I know Rigathi moves around saying he moves around with 4 to 6 million votes that people should be looking for. If he cannot be able to take one constituency in Kalou, then I think that narrative will be dead on arrival. So it is actually him who should be more worried than UDA. Yeah,
definitely. Rigathi Gachagua took this war to the president when during that funeral of the former MP of that place, he came and stood on the same podium and challenged the president on a number of things. If he loses, is that your same, do you share in the same analysis as advice that he would appear to be the bigger loser if he falls out of this race?
Of course, Fred, 10 days to this particular by-election and close to 400 days to the next election, and looking at the kind of political heat that we have seen from the president and even the former deputy president, this is more or less like a fali wawili wakipigana moment. And for the former DP, I believe that he has a lot to prove, because he has done too much talk. He's been talking and talking and talking and really speaking. But whether that talk will actually bear any action, I think ultimately is when the votes are counted. And so there is therefore a sense in which I agree with advice that he has to begin to look at how the talk will be able to bring back the seat, so that a few days to the next general election, we are able to see action, that is going to also mobilize people, because Kenyans, if you look at their political culture, they also want to go with somebody who has some metal to show. So if you are a loser who keeps saying I am winning, but we are not seeing how you're winning, then two things I foresee happening. One is that you're going to be affecting the ultimate turnout. The people will be like, oh yeah, lakini mimi sipendi huyu jamaa mwenye ako hapo, but because we are going to lose anyway, let me just sleep at home. Let me just sit, and whether I vote or not, as some of us say, those who say that, whether I vote or not, it will not count anything. Of course, without necessarily realizing that failure to vote is also putting in office the person that you are not voting for. But the second thing, of course, is a political party organizing. That these political parties, particularly DCP, must now begin to move beyond the individual called Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua. They have to begin to look at the political infrastructure of DCP and ultimately the wider coinage of what is called the alternative government, the United Alternative for Opposition, how they are also able to come together and speak from one voice and tone to capture even one single political seat, because that is how their success is going to be measured many, many days to come. Failure to win on Kalou, like we have seen in other spaces, and that also boosts UDA. So the President William Ruto will be out there saying, wanaongea tu na niliwaambia nitawanyorosha saa 2 asubuhi. Si mumeona? And that already built some believability from even those people who would not have wanted to vote for the president. So they'll be like, lakini sisi hatuna candidate. Wacha tu tumpigie kura, tuende for another 2 term. Ultimately that day will come. So again, in finishing is also to encourage people like Prof. Don't just be saying I want to be president from your corner somewhere. Go to Kalou and begin to also speak this alternative message that you have, because that is how you also begin to mobilize other political constituencies. A by-election, particularly a few days to the next election, Fred, you and I know, is as good as that particular election.
Okay. Do you believe there's an underdog in this election? By-election?
No, underdog normally means that there's somebody who is definitely going to lose, but this looks like neck to neck. Neck to neck for many reasons.
The two of them feel that
let me start by answering him, because I'm also entering Ole Kalou in different ways.
Is it okay?
Maybe I can start by having a wife from Ole Kalou, then I build momentum.
Congratulations.
We'll talk about that off the camera. But of late, Fred, I've been having a lot of interest in Ole Kalou for many reasons. Recently, there's Uber who picked me. And when we talked, eventually told me from Ole Kalou, and I asked him, what do you think about Ole Kalou? And he said there's a lot of government projects going to Ole Kalou. There are a lot of promises, there are a lot of goodies that are going there. But opposition is going there to dispense by saying, kuleni tu lakini kura ni kwetu. So, you know, why I like advice, this is your field. In politics, I'll take his advice with precision. He's right here. On economics, you saw I was a little bit... he's spot on there, so spot on. And if you follow his commentaries on politics, he's been very spot on. And talks about organizations. How organized is DCP to win this one? Currently, UDA seems to be more organized than DCP. DCP is talking, but organization on the ground, like this Uber driver who picked me from Ole Kalou, gave me all the stories about Ole Kalou. It was 2 hours trip with him. So he gave me a lot of analysis. I could tell you at the moment, in terms of organized, UDA is. In terms of being very much vocal, you could see that DCP is doing well. We go to Embu, the same thing. They talk more. UDA didn't talk more, but did more. They won. So Wamudendo is in parliament not because of how popular DCP was there, but it's more of how he said it. So, Fred, my main concern is not even this of the Kalou and the rest. My main concern is that we have not framed the question about 2027. You know, if the question is who can win the election, I can tell you that's not a Kenyan problem because we'll have a winner anyway, isn't it? The winner will be there, isn't it? Whether you do what, in fact, even if one person votes, there will be a winner. I remember when Chebukati said in Bomas last time, he said, I don't even care about turnout. Whether it is 2% turnout, I'll declare the winner. So the winner will be there. The issue is, will Kenya win or the winner will win? Okay. In 2022, the winner won. But did Kenya win? I don't want to answer the question because Kenyans can answer that question for themselves. We should be asking, who can solve the Kenyan economic problem? And this goes to security.
We should be asking, or
we should be,
or are we asking?
Yes, yeah, we should be asking because we are not asking it.
And as I said, the ideal perception of politics and what we get to experience in reality.
In Ole Kalou, is a DCP win or UDA win good for Kenya or good for DCP or UDA? If the question is about showing fahari wawili wanapigana, sivyo? Fahari hajaleta chakula kwako, sivyo? So watapigana tu, nyasi itaumia. So my question is, have we framed that? Now, let's go to government to talk about the issue of united opposition and alternative government, isn't it? The question is...
As you make your final comment.
Yeah. Have they framed the Kenyan problem for us? The first one who framed the best way to frame the problem will win the election. Ruto framed his question very well in 2022. I was with Azimio. I told Azimio, don't start dismantling the bottom-up economic model. Because when your neighbor is building next to your house a skyscraper, if you don't even have security to bring that skyscraper, build your own. Azimio continues shouting, saying, sloganeering. So we are behind as opposition to create a narrative, to create a Kenyan question that they can buy.
Do you think the problem still does exist with this united alternative government?
Yes, and that's why you saw, Fred, in that my profile, co-director, Macmillan College. We are building a social investment university that will create jobs and also build job creators by creating enterprises inside the university that can give people a job. That's how I'm running. I'm not running by being on top of the car. And we must talk about there is a possibility for a wrong route to freedom. Because Mandela took long to win. For us, one shortcut of shouting on top of the vehicle, insulting people without solving the problem. I am going to solve the problem day by day. I am not under pressure from anybody.
Are you asking the right question also? That's the question you should ask yourself.
The question is, I'm solving, not in question, now the question. I'm told you we are building a social investment university to create the 100,000 jobs per county. It is not running by shouting on top of the vehicle. I don't have to insult anybody. I don't have to fight with anybody. I can be president by being president, by knowing that I'm doing what a president should do, rather than by shouting for it. It's not about position, it's about function. What am I doing for my community? Not position. I can make those jobs without being president anyway.
All right.
So if I can make them without being president, then what's the obsession of being president?
All right.
Because the president is not doing what he should do. And I can do it by supporting my people.
Okay.
And that's my focus.
Final words, advice. Are we asking the right question? Do you feel this time around we're asking the right question? Even 400 days to the next election. What is the question? Is it about the economy? What is it about? Are we doing that?
I think, Fred, the first time that a Kenyan election was won on an agenda was the 2022 election, because all the tribal kingpins were on one side of the Azimio coalition. But it was impossible to still beat President William Ruto, because for the very first time, Kenyans resonated with something called the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And when you said that in Bungoma, it sounded the same in Lamu, and the problems of the people became the same. All of them became united under one thing called the hustlers. That was able to show you that the Kenyan voter is starting to also think about what exactly do I want, and what is your plan, and what's your agenda. As it stands today, there were only about 2 to 3 people with an agenda in this election. And the first one is the sitting president, William Ruto, who is selling an agenda to the people and selling a plan of what he has been able to do. The second person who was having an agenda was Jimmy Wanjigi. Unfortunately, I think he has now gone back to I saw him meeting Rigathi Gachagua, meaning the plan might be now cascading downwards into the usual one-term narrative. My friend Morara also had a plan, but at some point, because of impatience, he is now back to Kisii politics and doing local politics the Matiang'i way. Now, Prof has always had a plan, and we have always had this conversation, but his plan continues to fall short of the politique. Because you see, a political plan must be communicated politically for people to understand the plan, so then they can have a conversation around it. So, well, Prof has a plan. The politique in the plan is very weak. Now, the only remaining 2 people, therefore, in Kenya today who are presidential candidates to the plan. That is President William Ruto and Prof. The rest have degenerated into usual tribal narratives that will not work. And as factual as the sun will rise from the east, he who has a plan that he can communicate to Kenyans and he can mobilize and organize, that is the person who will win the election. Kenyans are no longer going to vote for you on the basis of aggression. And that's why even those ones who think they do not support President William Ruto are continuously asking their leaders the question, 1, who is our candidate? And 2, what do we want to do? We can't just sing one term from morning to evening. But unfortunately, legacy politicians seem not to be understanding that political reality. Right. And that's why the results of the 2027 election might just be the same as the results of the by-election and the results in Kalou.
Wow. Interesting. Finally, Bonosido.
For 2027, Fred, you shall know them by their fruits. And I do not think that Kenyans are keen to look at plans moving forward, because we have had some of the best people running for office. They've been given opportunities and chances. They've come back with nothing, if not anything that resonates with why the people sent you there. We have had some of the worst people given opportunities. They've tried to do something. And unfortunately, as we head towards closer to the next baton, they get tired and they forget that it is the people who gave you that opportunity. So moving forward, the kind of conversations that we hear people saying, or rather talking about even in town halls, is we are going to ask you to stand close to what you have done. If there is nothing that you have done, unfortunately that space will not be there for you. And that is really the reality. So that if it's a dispensary we asked you to put up, we want to see it. If it is a dam we asked you to go and build because we sat with you here, we worked on it together, we innovated it together, and you did not put it. We even attended your public participation meetings and we gave you a budget. You went and siphoned the money. We are not going to give you the opportunity. The plan might be very good, but I do not think that that is what Kenyans are going to focus on in 2027. They are going to ask you for the things that they asked you to go and do for them. If you cannot show anything, don't even bother wasting your money. And then finally, in my view, is to ask the government that for this conversation that we are talking about of insecurity, the government has what it takes to be able to make Kenyans secure. And the baton of the police officers is written utumishi kwa wote. We are calling upon security infrastructure, the CS, the PS, honestly come forward and show what kind of innovation Kenya has, particularly in dealing with what Kenyans are feeling right now. It cannot be that we have recordings of videos of people walking into restaurants. We have videos of people being taken photos along a very busy superhighway in town, and people just walk free. There must be an opportunity through which those videos now, Fred, and the photos must mean something to the security apparatus. Kenyans deserve better. Kenyans must be given the best that they deserve.
Right. Fred, let me just say there's nothing successful than success. So whatever they are saying, when we shall achieve this, success will speak for itself. Thank you.
Thank you so
And it's
much.
important to also call out the Inspector General, because at the end of the day, if the Office of the Inspector General must be independent, and it's said to be independent, then he must also be able to really meet this problem of gunship at its best.
Yes, definitely. Security, the biggest question this morning. Are the people at the helm of the security structure in Kenya up to the task? It's exactly 400 days to the next general election, and questions about gangs, goons, and general insecurity in urban areas and elsewhere need answers. That has been the main discussion. Asante sana Advice Mundalo, a leadership and communications expert, Professor Fred Ogola, an economics and governance expert, also a co-director, Macmillan Medical College, and Kevin Osido, governance specialist and the executive director, County Governance Watch. Our panelists this morning on TV47 Breakfast, State of the Nation. Asanteni sana for your time at TV47. Awesome. After the break, Monday Blitz, World Cup imefika ile wakati. And I'm already counting the number of European teams that are already in the quarterfinals. We have England, Norway, France. There's a potential between Spain and Portugal to go there. And there's still Belgium facing the US, meaning that out of the 8 teams in the quarterfinals, 5 are from Europe. Does that tell you something? That the World Cup could be going to Europe? Well, Monday Blitz, Katela Macy will be here with her team. Do stand by for that. My name is Fred Indemuli. Have a lovely day.
Cry Mother Africa.